and this is where I introduce you to amazing people just like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. The shirt that I'm wearing today is a hint where we are broadcasting live from, all the way from Tecate, Mexico at Rancho La Puerta. If you've never been to Rancho La Puerta, please check it out and put it on your bucket list because it literally is heaven on earth. It is the most magical place you could ever go to. It's always been the number one spa destination. And I have had the extreme privilege of being a presenter there, I think about 12 or more times, both as a hands on cooking instructor at the Cocina Que Canta and also giving lectures. So I don't know if you guys know, but I've been broadcasting a few of the presenters and staff from Rancho La Puerta. You can find it on this page. I've had Barry Shingle on. I've had Dr. Joel Furman, who's presented there, and Dr. Ben Brown and Jill Nussino, who also teaches cooking there. And Rich Roll I haven't had on yet, but his wife is coming on and he's been a presenter there. I think there's somebody else that is a ranch presenter that I'm having on soon, but they are just the most spectacular people there. And it's the greatest vacation you'll ever have. So I really want you guys to check it out. So my guest today, I first met her when I was at the cooking school many years ago. She was working at the cooking school, and now she's actually the executive chef of Rancho La Puerta, which means she not only makes but oversees the food in the dining room, feeding all the guests. That is the most healthy, delicious, beautiful food you will ever eat on any vacation. And today she is going to be creating her famous purslane black bean tacos with a salsa fresca. Please welcome Chef Reyna. Thank you so much for doing this. It's such an honor to have you on my show.
Thank you very much, AJ. It's a great pleasure for me to be at you at your show, and I know that it's been a while since we haven't seen each other. I believe it was since December that you were here with us, and it's always a great experience that we have with you here. So thank you very much for the invitation.
I can't wait to see what you're making. And when we announced it, people were saying, "What is purslane?"
Yeah, so this is one of my favorite ingredients in summer because it's a weed actually that grows wild in most of the gardens or any like open land here in Baja, and I believe in Southern California too. So it's this little uh, green vegetable, and it's full of nutrients. And the funny thing is that most people just take that out as a weed and throw that into their compost or to the garbage, and they lose all the nutrients that they could have if they will be eating this. This is a very popular vegetable here in Mexico because you can buy it like at any store during summer season, especially. And in southern Mexico, you can find it every time of the year because it grows the whole year round. But here in Baja, it grows especially in late spring and during summer. And I love this vegetable. It's so full of nutrients. It's one of the only sources of omega-3, the vegetable sources. So this is a great way also to get your nutrients out of um, a vegetable to get that healthy oil into your system with this vegetable. So we wouldn't even think about it that there's a vegetable that's so full of nutrients.
I agree because I'm not able to eat nuts. And so I eat a lot of purslane and I have really wonderful blood levels of omega-3 fatty acid. And here we can get it all year round at one of the Latino markets or all of the Latino markets. And it's so cheap. It's like 4 bunches for $1.
Yes, that's also another great thing about purslane. And also, I had a couple friends asking me like, okay, Reina, if I can't find purslane or if it's winter season and I really can't have it, what can I do? Well, you can just change with whatever vegetable you have in season. It could be from spinach to kale to Swiss chard, collard greens, any green that you have in your fridge, you can, or in your home garden, you can always put and substitute if it's not a season where you can get purslane at.
And I actually like it raw. I even put it in my salads.
Oh yes, that's also a beautiful way. And also like to garnish. So you can mix this, chop it, and mix it with a little bit of cilantro, and that's also a great way to enhance and give a little twist to your salads or to your tostadas, whatever you're eating. You can just add a little purslane on top, and it will give you the nutrients, and it has this little crunch that I really like. very much.
Just so you know, we have another wonderful chef watching named Fran Costigan, who's presented at the La Cocina Que Canta. And she's going to be on the show in the near future. So welcome, Fran. I love when chefs watch other chefs.
Yes, welcome, Fran.
You are so young, Chef Reyna. Everyone's saying how pretty you are. And you are so young to be an executive chef.
Well, yes, that's what I hear sometimes. I know that I look pretty young, but I started my career really early. And actually, I started my career at the ranch. I used to be a hostess 12 years ago. Yes, so that was my first job while I was in culinary school, and that helped me finish my culinary school and also do an internship in France. So it was like a great experience for me. This was like my first contact with the culinary and hospitality industry. And I believe that the values that I learned by working here helped me grow throughout my career. That's a great thing that I will always be grateful.
That's amazing. I know, guys, I'm having some sound issues, so I'm having my husband come to fix it. Hopefully he'll fix it, or maybe just Chef Reyna will talk more than I will.
Okay, so would you like to get for me to get started? Because we are making the tortillas. If you don't have the flour or the harina for making the tortillas, you can always buy your favorite tortillas. They need to be corn tortillas. So if you have a Mexican store around your neighborhood, you can always go and buy the tortillas already made. I love to make this ones, and it's very simple. There are only two ingredients. So it's just they sell the flour already, like this, and it's made out of corn. And I picked a blue corn because I love the color that it gives, and it's um, really delicious. So what we basically do, we just add a little bit of water and we knead a little bit because this flour doesn't have any gluten. It will feel a little bit different than if you were making bread or cookies. So that's a great thing also about corn flour because it's gluten free. And nowadays, I believe there's um, much more people that have gluten intolerance. So this is a great way to keep on having something delicious with your tacos, and it doesn't need to be made out of wheat flour. So what we do, we just add water little by little until we have a texture like if you were playing Play-Doh. So when you get that texture, that's the right texture you want to have for making your tortillas. And I am almost getting there. So what we basically do is we just uh, hydrate the dough. And this is a very simple step. And what I love about this is that this is an ancestral meal, actually. All of the ingredients that we're using, uh, most of them, they were found like in the pre-Hispanic cuisine here in Mexico. So, from very long time in this region, we used to eat very healthy. And one of the bases of that was the corn. So it's like the staple of Mexican food. You will find something made out of masa, which literally means dough in English, so masa. And so we have this texture. As I was telling you, it's like playing Play-Doh. You need to feel the same texture if you're making them from scratch, and you don't add any salt, any other thing. You can add a little bit of garlic or some herbs if you like, if you want to add an extra flavor to it, or you can just keep them plain. That's like the natural way, the way that you will find them in the store. Um, it doesn't have any other flavor. So once we get the right texture, we're gonna form little balls, and then we have a tortilla press so that we can press them and cook them on a flat top, or we call it a comal, which is like the name in Spanish. But you can use any flat top or like a pan that you have. You don't need to add anything to it. Just need to heat it up at least 10 minutes before you're cooking your tortillas, because you need to have it at a good hot temperature so that they will start baking and they won't stick. Because if your pan is cold, it will definitely stick, and then you need to wait a little more and do another batch of tortillas or masa. So now that I have the dough, I'm gonna start by forming this little balls. So I love this.
It's amazing, Chef Reyna, that you don't need all those preservatives and additives. Like when you buy your tortillas at the store, they have like 10 things that they don't need. You make them just out of real food.
Yes, totally. And you know that this summer we are growing also our corn, so we will be able to do our own masa. Because you know it's a process if you want to do that out of the corn, because you need to cook it with a little bit of lye and then wash it really well and then peel it. So it's a huge process. And if you want to do that literally from the plant, it takes a while, but it's a great difference. And if you just want to keep it a little bit simple, you can just buy the flour that has already made that process, but it's like nothing but that, just the flour. And if you can read the ingredients on those kind of flours, the corn flour, it doesn't have anything added. It's just the corn, and that's it. So here I get my little masa, and then I have this tortilla press. So it's like very simple. You just put it in the middle, you press, and then you got your tortilla. And what we always do, we cut a plastic bag so that it won't stick to the press. So what we do is that we cover it and then we press it. We want to have a flat and not so thin tortilla, because then it will break. So it has a little bit of trick, and also a trick that my grandma taught me when I was like 6 or 7. I love my grandma. She taught me most of the things that I know about, like cooking the rice. She was the one that got me like to the perfect point of the rice cooking. So for this, she always told me, like, you need to put your hand in the top part of the tortilla so that it won't stick to your hand, and then you leave this little part here, so this will go directly to the flat top. So that's why it's easy to get them out of your hands, because normally if you put them in the middle, they will stick to your hand, and then you will end up forming once again the little ball. So this is like a grandma trick on making tortillas. And that's one of the things I really love about Mexican cooking and Mexican culture, like all that culinary heritage. It's been losing from time to time throughout the years, but mostly we like to share our recipes and spend time together in the kitchen. And like I have like my grandma tortilla recipe, and my mom, it's like a different tortilla recipe with like whole wheat, and it's just amazing how it's like sharing love throughout your generations, because we always want to recreate those moments that were surrounded by great food. So that's like a way to say I love you, I believe, like teaching you how you can cook. So we're gonna wait a little bit on the tortilla. So this is basically just pressing them, putting them on the flat top, and then we're gonna keep on going with the filling. So for this recipe, I basically walked the garden like yesterday and just picked like, okay, we have all this, let's create this beautiful recipe. So everything's from our garden. I believe that we should always eat what's in season. And this is like the way that nature tells you what nutrients your body needs at this time of the year. Like you need something that's a little bit more refreshing and that gives you also energy. So that's why like we have tomatoes and potatoes and corn and onions. So it's just like magic. So I really love walking the garden and picking the vegetables for this recipe. And that's why we have this recipe with these ingredients, because it's what's growing here in the garden. So basically for this recipe, what we did a little mise en place here, and I always recommend you that you can read your recipe, chop all your ingredients, and have everything in little containers as we have here. So that will save you a lot of time while you're cooking, because then you're just pouring things inside the pan and then you have your meal ready. That will save you a lot of time when you're cooking at home, and that will get you encouraged because you're feeling better because you're not stressed out like, oh, I forgot to peel the potatoes or I forgot to chop the garlic. Like, you take your time, just have the ingredients, put everything in little containers, and then read the rest of the recipe and keep on with the process before even turning on the pan. So what we're gonna do for this, we're not adding any oil to this guiso, or this, it's like a little stew. So we just add a little bit of water. And I believe I learned this trick from you, actually. This is one of the culinary skills that you taught me a couple years ago. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, so much. You know, one of the things about, because we have a question from a live viewer, if you can make whole wheat tortillas without oil. But what I really noticed and love about the ranch is you have a whole bar with no oil and gluten, but even you don't use a lot of oil in the cooking at ranch. It's very, very minimal.
Yes, actually, we use very little oil, and the oil that we use is made here in Baja, because of the region. We have great olive oil. So the only oil that we cook with is olive oil that's local, and we really use very little. And the thing that we have been doing for the past years is that we basically got rid of most of the oil in our dressings and our vinegar. Well, the vinaigrettes might have just a little bit, but the dressings, we got rid of the dairy and the oil because we're adding nuts and seeds. So we soak the nuts and seeds, and that's a great way also to get beautiful creamy dressings without a spoonful of oil. So yes?
You don't use a lot of salt either in your cooking, and it's still fantastic.
Yeah, so you know what we use a lot? We use a lot of fresh herbs, chopped fresh herbs, and that will give you great, great flavor. And also we have this beautiful garlic from the garden. I wish you could be here and you could smell this amazing garlic from the garden. It fills the place with this beautiful scent. So we are going to cook a little bit the onion until it's a little bit caramelized or a little bit like light brown. And then we're gonna add the potatoes here.
I'm while you're cooking, I'm talking to Scott from the ranch on the chat, asking, you know, maybe if one day Salvador could come on because he's such a character.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the question.
I was saying that
the pan.
I don't think people, if they have not been to Rancho, know about your extraordinary garden, that how you actually could just go to the garden and get the food and you cook with it like right there. And I was saying Salvador would be a wonderful guest because he's a character.
Oh yes, totally. Why don't we invite him? You just let me know. He'll be more than happy to be in the show. Actually, we walked this morning together to harvest all this for the class. Yeah, he's one of my best friends, you know. I believe like chefs and farmers, like we are a great team. And I really feel honored in cooking the vegetables that he puts so much love and passion and time to grow and to feed the land and to respect the cycles and also the microbiome that he respects and creates in the soil. I feel honored to be a part of this community and also to cook those vegetables that are so, so, so delicious. That's just an amazing thing. So a little bit lower.
People are commenting. People are commenting how beautiful the bowls are that you're using.
Oh yes, well we have all bowls that are made by Mexican artists, so it's all handcraft in Mexico. They come from different parts of Mexico, so they come from different regions, and they do this all with their hands. And you know, a thing that I have learned, that because we used to, like, the pre-Hispanic and ancestral roots that we have, we used to do a lot of things like with the masa, and we have really that skill by working with our hands. So that's why there's so much beautiful artisanal work in Mexico, with clay and with all different how do you say, like, all different materials. But it all came to that pre-Hispanic root that we used to, like, play with the dough and do those little things like with the masa that we're cooking our tortillas. So that's also a thing that helped creating all those beautiful artisanal work that you can find here in Mexico. So we have our tortillas ready here. So basically they're cooked on both sides, and I'm gonna keep them warm between a cloth here. And we're gonna keep on with our purslane. So I start by cooking the potatoes because they need to cook a little bit longer, and they're all also freshly picked this morning. So they are really tender, but still they need a little bit more time. So with the purslane, I just chop it a little bit, and if there's like a hard part or where the root comes from, I just discard this little stem. But the rest I keep. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna add the rest of the ingredients. So we add the purslane, and I like to add a little bit of tomato paste just to give a little bit more depth and flavor. It's just like a teaspoon, I believe, in the recipe. So we just add a little bit, and then we add a little bit more water and a little bit of tamari sauce just to give some extra flavor. So we want to do this beautiful guisado. And when we do this, I like to just add a little extra water and let it cook covered so that the potatoes keep on cooking. So I am just dissolving a little bit of the tomato paste so that we get like a nice sauce. And also, like, we say, like, deglazing, like the pan, like where the onion caramelized. So we're getting all that flavor from the pan, all the juices.
I think I'm hearing a kitty.
Yes, there's Lizard here. You know, she's really thin because there are no guests feeding her all the mornings in the hikes, so that she's like, she lost a lot of weight. She's just eating wild from the garden, so it's just, she also misses all the guests here in property. So I added the corn and then a little bit of the tamari sauce, just a little. We don't want it to be really like salty, so we just want to add a little taste with the tamari sauce. So I'm going to cover this and let it cook for a couple minutes, and just be sure that it's at a low heat so that it won't burn and that the water doesn't run out, because then it will stick to the pan. So I get all these ingredients here, and also I would like to prepare the salsa, which is also all from the garden. We got these beautiful cherry tomatoes, which are amazing. They're so sweet. So we got this beautiful cherry tomatoes. I just cut them in half, and can you see them there?
Absolutely beautiful, yes.
Yeah, they're so delicious. So full of flavor. I really love summer fruits and vegetables. They're my favorite. So for this recipe, because we had this amazing green onions in the garden, we're adding green onion rather than normally like Mexican salsas ask you for red onion or white onion, but I saw this beautiful spring onions, so that we can add them. And of course, the chiles and the cilantro. So for this recipe, I will be using the molcajete a little bit, but if you don't have it, you really don't need to go and buy one. You can just toss it all together, and that's also good. So what we're gonna do is basically just combining the ingredients together, adding a little bit of lime juice, adding a little tamari sauce, and then you have a beautiful salsa. And you finish by adding freshly chopped cilantro. So let's start. So we're gonna start by adding the cherry tomatoes here in this beautiful bowl. And then we have the green onions thinly sliced. That will give a nice combination. And the chiles. So when you're cooking with Mexican chiles, if they are green like this, like a jalapeno or a serrano, it's always good to taste just one little piece so that you're sure that it's not extremely spicy. Because then if it doesn't taste that spicy, you can add a full tablespoon of it. If it's really spicy, then you just add a couple pieces of the chile. So that because normally recipes tell you like, oh, you add half a chile, but if that's really spicy, then your sauce, you won't be able to eat it. So this one's like pretty mild. So I'm gonna add the whole thing. And we have this freshly chopped cilantro, the lime juice that we have here. If you can't find limes, you can always use lemon. It's just that it's a little bit less acidic, and that's why we always use limes, because they give a little extra tartness to the recipe. And then we add just a little tamari sauce. And you can either combine it like this, or you can, if you want to add a little bit more of the flavor, you can always press it a little bit so that you get all the juice from the tomatoes combined with the onion, and this will create a much deeper flavor in your salsa. And it looks so beautiful. And this tomatoes are yellow, so it looks really great. I love that color in summer. So we got our salsa ready. I always like to taste. And it's important that there's no double dipping. So if you taste with a spoon, then you just put it aside and go grab a new spoon and taste the food. Because then you can get someone sick. So let's take care of ourselves and of the others. So I just taste it once and then put it aside. Tastes so good. I really wish all of you were here so you could taste this, but I'm sure that you can find that at your local farmer's market or the stores that you have, or if you have a garden and that you have a lot of tomatoes in your garden, you always need to plant cilantro and chiles so that you will have your salsa recipe and a couple spring onions. So we got the salsa ready. And the other ingredient that we need, we're gonna prepare some beans. So I love using black beans. These are my favorite, and they're so rich in iron also. So I really love to eat black beans. These are my favorite, really. And what I do when I cook them, so here we have the black beans, and then I save the broth. So I always separate them because I start by cooking the beans, and then if I need a little bit more water, I will use the broth of the beans rather than the water. If you want to be like super practical, you can always buy organic canned beans. Just be sure that you save the liquid because you will be needing it for the recipe. If not, you can always add water or vegetable broth. but it always tastes better with the liquid. And also be sure that when you're buying them, just be sure that they don't have a lot of sodium in them. You know, you can read the label, because sometimes like some brands add a little bit more sodium even in the cooked beans. So you just need to be sure so that you don't add any more salt to it if it already comes with salt. If you're cooking them at home, there's a whole process. So what you need to do is that you have your beans, you let them soak at least for a night, then you get rid of that water, and then you cook them with water. So they need to be covered at least 1.5 or 2 inches on top of the beans in your pot. And also, you know what we add in them? We add some epazote leaves. That's like very traditional Mexican, but we also add a little bit of kombu seaweed. So that helps you for not having like a bloated stomach after eating your beans. So that's a new thing that we've been doing for the past year, so that all the beans that we cook at the ranch, we always add a piece of kombu seaweed. So that's a great way, and it's a great way also to get all of your nutrients and fiber and some protein out of your beans. So I really, really love black beans.
Chef Reyna, you
Yes.
cooked your beans in a pressure cooker?
Yes, I like to cook them in my pressure cooker. And you know what I just found out at home? Because my husband bought like a rice cooker a couple years ago. And now I just found out there's like a button that it was made out for soup. But if I push that button, then I have the perfect beans like in an hour. So I am just in love with that rice cooker right now. It's just like, oh, it saves me a lot of time. And, you know, like pressure cookers, sometimes they're a little bit scary with all like the thing, and if you get the lid wrong and all that. So I love that. I believe that rice cooker, it's in a way like a pressure cooker. So now I cook all my beans in that one, just like pushing a button, and then in an hour it just sets up the alarm and like your beans are ready, and that's it. And you know what we do a lot also? Like I cook like 2 pounds per week, and then like at home because we love beans. Um, and then what I do is that I put them in separate like containers and freeze them. And then like on Monday I got my beans out of the fridge, out of the freezer, let them thaw through the night, and then in the morning they're ready for making this recipe. So that way I always have my beans freshly cooked and throughout the week, so that they don't get bad throughout the week. So that I have my whole week programmed already, and I have a great way to have a fresh meal. And you know what I love to do also with beans? I love to put them in salads or to do like veggie burgers with the beans. I just love those too. So we're gonna, yes.
People are very excited about the prospect of cooking beans in a rice cooker and are asking you what kind of rice cooker you use.
Oh, I should look for I can't remember really the brand, but it has like these little buttons. I believe my husband bought it like at Costco or some like wholesale like that. It was just like it's like a very very simple cooker that it gives you the upper. It has like the quinoa button, and then the rice, the sushi rice, and then white rice, brown rice, and on the other side it has like all these soup options. I really can't remember the name right now because I remember the names of the buttons. I can't remember the brand, but if I remember, I will let you know. But I believe it was at any like wholesale store that he bought it, and I'm just in love with that machine. So we're gonna start with this beans. So I'm gonna get just forgot about this. So I'm gonna get a little bit of water here, and then add the beans. And we are going to add some spices that we love. So we have powdered garlic here, um, paprika, some cumin, and some fresh oregano from the garden. So this will give a nice twist into your black beans. Just a little pinch of oregano because it's very strong from the garden. And we just let this cook a little bit. We can, I believe they already had a little extra juice in the bottom of the bowl, so we won't be adding any more bean broth, I believe. So once they're hot, then you can start mashing them. We have this, so we have this like potato masher, or you can always use the immersion blender if you have a larger batch. So you just press them. It smells so good with the spices. So you just mash them a little bit and then let them cook. So this are in a way like, this will be like the process of making refried beans in a way, but rather than adding oil, we added some water and we just cook them for a while and mash them really well. So that's why I believe in the recipe I put like no fried beans, like they are not refried beans. They are no fried beans, but they taste as if they were cooked for a long time with that. Because of the spices, that will give that nice flavor.
Chef Reyna, people are asking when you, at some point, to lift the food up, just because since there's
Yes.
no overhead camera, they
Yes.
can't.
So this one's not ready yet, but let me show you the beans. So here. So you see how it looks like creamy, and you see the texture. So
Beautiful.
it looks like a beautiful like puree. So that's the texture you want. You can loosen it up a little bit if you want to reheat it. Every time that you reheat your bean puree, you always add a little bit of water or broth because they dry out really quickly with the heat. So the next step will be tasting the beans and see if they need a little bit more spice or they are, I think they're pretty good. I like the cumin and the paprika in it.
What's your favorite spice?
I have plenty, but I believe my favorite, well, more than spice, I have many. I love cinnamon, really. Since I was a child, like I even I used to put like cinnamon on my cereal in the morning, I believe, when I was like 5 years old, you know? It was just like a funny thing for a 5-year-old, but my mom always needed to have cinnamon at home. Now I don't eat it that much, but I believe like I love cinnamon. Like I was always asking, Mom, I want the powdered cinnamon because I want to put it on the pancakes or like on top of everything when I was little. But you know what I like to do? Like now that I know much more spices than cinnamon, I like to combine flavors with the spices. Like for Mexican food, I really like the cumin, but just a little twist. Because if you put a lot of cumin, it gets really overwhelming. But like the combination of that, the cumin and the chili, and then an herb like the oregano, I just love that combination for Mexican food. It's one of my favorites. So let's see how, oh, look, smells so good. So here's the purslane. And you see the purslane with the potatoes and the corn, and it has this little sauce that helps cooking.
We have a question from a live viewer. What does Chef Reyna eat for breakfast?
What I eat for breakfast? You know what I love? Avocado toast, and I also love like peanut butter sandwiches with like fruit on top. Oh my God. I kind of have like a sweet tooth in the morning, and I love having lots of fresh fruit. And of course my coffee or a cup of tea. But like I love that fresh fruit. Every morning I always get some fresh fruit. And also the avocado, because I have a friend that's been baking this delicious bread, sourdough bread, and I really enjoy that because it feels like nutrient dense, and he uses like this special like whole wheat flours that are organic, and I just love that. Like just the slice of that bread with some avocado on top and some pepper, and some salsa too. Sometimes I put like this kind of salsitas or the salsa. I believe there was a video that we made for the wellness day. That sauce is one of our favorite because you just blend it all together and you have a fresh salsa in just like 2 minutes, not even 5 minutes. So that's a very, very easy breakfast meal that we have almost every morning. But I always do two kinds of breakfast because my husband comes from a Japanese family, so he always needs to have white rice in the morning. So I really don't love having white rice in the morning. So I'm more like a toast person, and he's more like a rice person. So then I always have the rice cooker with the rice for him, and then I prepare my toast for me. And for my kid, he gets to choose one day rice, one day a toast, or some pancakes. I also love like banana pancakes with oatmeal. I love those too.
Great. One of the things that I love most about the ranch is, well, you make the best salsas in the world, especially the dark one that I love, and that you have them in every single meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yes, that's like a very Mexican thing about food. Like we always serve as if it was a feast, a flavor, and you at least need to have one or two salsas in your table for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or in every meal. And every time you can see like at a Mexican table, you will have that, and you will have like the limes and the tortillas and the avocado slices. And we really love eating that way because you're adding, it's so easy to eat healthy with that because you have this delicious salsa that's already giving you a lot of nutrients and a great flavor to food so that you don't need to add a lot of salt into your food or a lot of other things. So that's like a great condiment that we always have. And any Mexican table, I believe you will see that with any meal, you will always have at least one or two salsas on the table the whole day.
Yeah. I wish you guys sold your salsa in stores, or I could take it home with me. That's would be my greatest wish.
Yes, maybe you're giving us like a good idea for a new project, right?
Even if it was just the one I like, the dark one, because the red and green are spectacular, but you can get
Yes,
what is it, the one I love called so much?
it's called the tres chiles. I believe it's the tres chiles, and that particular sauce. What we do is that we bake the chiles and we let them dry in the oven until they are like very very dry, and they get like a little smoky flavor out of it. And then we also roast the tomatoes, but the proportion, it has very little tomato to the proportion of chiles. So that gives that rich, like dark flavor. So beautiful. And it has also roasted garlic. So we roast the garlic, like you put it in inside some foil. So we put like 10 or 15 heads of garlic in a big foil, and we let them bake in the oven so that you get all those juices naturally from the garlic. It gets so soft and tender. So that's like one of the secrets of that salsa, and baking the chiles for a very long time.
Here's a great question from Cindy, who's watching live. How does Chef Reyna feel about being a young woman in a world where keto and carnivore is so horrifically popular right now, influencing her family, etc.? Because the ranch is the opposite of keto and carnivore.
Yeah, so I believe that there's always something to learn out, and the good thing is that I've been having like great mentors throughout my life, and I've been teaming up really well with our nutritionist. Linda Illingworth, so that every time that I have like a question or something about, I go to her and like, hey Linda, I'm reading about this and this and that, and we really like communicate very well, and I learn a lot from her, and like we have all that team around us always guiding. And also like I've been studying lately nutrition at UCSD, the Integrative Nutrition program, and I've been learning a lot of things. I love that it's online and that I can work and study at the same time. I am just in love with that program. And I know that it's like a hard topic, and sometimes or in specific uh, times of your life, you can get something good out of the keto diet, or especially like if you're having seizures or for special treatments or diagnosis, they recommend that. But it's just complicated most of the time, and we are always totally respectful to the people that decide to follow a special diet. The only thing that we always recommend is just like read different kinds of books and things talking about the same topic, and just like take a mindful decision before getting enrolled into what's in how do you say, like what's in like getting popular around you. It's like if you feel that your body is feeling good with that, well, stick to it. But if you feel that you're not having the results that you thought you will be having, then you can just go back to whatever feels better for your body.
Great.
Yes. So I believe we have all the ingredients ready so that we can prepare the tacos, and we can keep on chatting and like the questions and answers. Or how would you like to uh, keep on with the show? Just let me know.
Great. If you guys have any more questions for Chef Reyna, type them in the chat. You have a kid, right?
Yes, he's 4.5 now. And you know what's really funny? That he, when I was pregnant, I was sous chef here at La Cocina Que Canta. And I used to walk the garden every day and like just pick the right fruit and eat it, and just like all the amazing vegetables. And it's not that he is like a vegetarian kid, because he also likes to have like a little chicken or a little meat, but he loves vegetables and he loves fruit, and it's like 90% of his diet, it's made out of like it's really vegetarian. And it's funny, like my husband always makes fun of it, like it's because you were eating all those great things at the ranch at Tres Estrellas, that he, since he was like inside of you, he got all those nutrients and he really likes that into his body. So it's like he will be coming here with Salvador and picking a corn and just eating it like that. And oh, Salvador, I want to take 12 to my house. It's like so funny, like picking the strawberries and having all those amazing vegetables. And I really like that and enjoy that he's like a healthy boy, and that he likes to eat what's best for his body.
What's the most popular dish you serve at the ranch?
Oh, the most popular dish. Well, the only dish that I believe I can never stop serving are the chile rellenos. Like when I was starting as the executive chef at the ranch, like 2 years ago, when you get to like a new job or a new position, you always get like a little creative and you want to change things and make things like your way in a way. And then one week, it was just one week, I decided, okay, this week we're not making the chile rellenos. Oh my god, that week I got like 10 comments like, I came to the ranch and missed the chile rellenos. It's like, oh my god, I am always making the chile rellenos every single week because they're so good. And I believe that's like one of the staple recipes. And of course, we have the bread, we have the muesli, we have many other recipes, but that's the one that like all the guests, every time they come here to the ranch, they want to have that at least like during their stay. So we always have that recipe program throughout the week for dinner.
That's great. And you can not only accommodate gluten-free diets, I know you could do 100% vegan diets if people want to come to the ranch. You're able to do that as well.
Yes, totally. So, we're making the switch in a way. So I've been working in um, getting less of our recipes with dairy so that we can, or if we're adding cheese, we just put it like on top of something so that if people are sticking to a vegan diet or like a plant-based diet, it's just so easy to accommodate all those things. And we really enjoy that very, very much, like preparing everything that comes from the garden and a lot of vegetables, and of course we serve fish and seafood. But with the cheese, we're just getting little by little, not using that much cheese. And you know what? We have this new project that will be like in a year. We have goats here in property. So I was experimenting last month with goat milk. So that I tried to make some cheese and cajeta and yogurt, and it worked pretty well. It's just that we only had one goat that was giving milk, so it was just like a very small batch. But that kept me busy throughout the like this time that I was at home to get to come here and prepare those little recipes and start testing. I really enjoyed that.
I met the goats the last time I was there on the hike. They're adorable.
Oh yes, and the baby goat now it's as big as the mom. I didn't knew they grew so fast.
They're beautiful. I have a couple of questions for you, Chef Reyna. First of all, everyone says you're lovely, you're beautiful, you're so professional, your workspace is so clean, they're so impressed. And Francie wants to know if you give any cooking demonstrations at the ranch during the guest stay. Is that part of the program?
Yes, well, you know that we every week we have a guest chef, and a couple weeks, like 3 times throughout the year, sometimes 4 times throughout the year, I teach a couple classes. But we also love to have a lot of guest chefs coming here and to learn from them and to share all those beautiful experiences. And also for Saturdays at the ranch, when we were open, I used to come like once every month on a Saturday for the Saturdays at the Ranch program. So I gave those demonstrations for the Saturdays at the Ranch program. And like throughout the year, a couple times throughout the year, because it's like I am in another part. Now we are at La Cocina Que Canta on this beautiful patio outside of the cafecito. But normally I work at the main kitchen at the ranch. So that I need to work out my schedule just to be here and there. And I really enjoy coming here and teaching classes from time to time.
Yeah, you're very, very good at it. So I hope you will continue. Anne says, when you freeze the beans, are the beans drained?
No, we always keep a little bit of the broth. Just be sure that when you put them in your containers, just leave like a half an inch or maybe a little bit less because they will expand. Because when you freeze things, they kind of expand a little bit so that the lid will keep on top of your beans. Because if you put them all the way to the top, it will pop out the lid. You always need to keep the water, the bean broth.
Makes sense. And Jay says, why is she storing her spoons in water? To keep them clean?
Oh yes, it's just a thing that I we always do like in the kitchen, and we put just a little bit of like to keep them sanitized and everything. It's just like a safety measure that we're always having, and that we are sure that we don't put that they're always clean. Because then if your water starts looking funny, it's that the spoons are not clean. So that's like a chef thing that we always do in restaurants.
Great. And
Yes.
Gwendolyn says, can you use epazote in salsa?
Yes, totally. You can combine it with cilantro. Just be sure that you don't add that much because it tastes a little bit bitter. So if you're adding epazote, just chop it really fine and mix it with another herb to have like much of a richer flavor because otherwise it will turn your salsa a little bit bitter.
Great. And Gina says, can you make chili relleno without eggs?
Oh, well, I'm almost telling you the recipe that we will be doing for September here at the vlog. It's not going to be a secret anymore. So we are working on this egg batter, but it's not egg really. It's made out of aquafaba. You know, the liquid of the garbanzo beans that you reduce and then you you put in the fridge. So we are, because that whisks as if it was like egg white. Actually, I learned that from Chef Fran, that she made this beautiful, beautiful meringue out of aquafaba. It's just an amazing way to substitute the egg.
Yeah, and you know, they actually have something now called veg, V-E-G-G. You can buy it in a carton. It's a vegan egg, and you can actually make flax eggs as well.
Oh yes, you know I haven't tried the flax eggs yet. It's hard to find that kind of products here in Mexico. They're not as common as they are starting to be in the States. I believe we also need to get in root with the plant-based movement that's growing and growing and growing in the United States. I really love that.
Terrific. Apple says, now that the ranch is closed, what are you doing with the abundance from the garden? Saving, preserving, donating, farmers markets?
Yeah, so you know we donate a lot. So we donate for orphanages and for immigrant houses and also for all the ranch staff because we are a big community, like almost like 400 or more employees. So we every week we come and harvest and prepare this basket so that they get to come and take those beautiful organic vegetables home.
Great. I have a very nice comment I'd like to read from Evelyn. This is another awesome show. Chef Reyna is adorable and so talented and has such great recipes. Chef Reyna, do you have an Instagram presence or a Facebook presence if people wanted to follow you?
Yes, I believe it's like Chef Reyna Venegas. You can look at on Facebook or Instagram. You know, I have been using Facebook for a while, and I am learning how to use Instagram now. You know, I'm much more of a reading person, so I like Facebook that you can read the posts and everything, and Instagram it's much more like about pictures and pictures and pictures, and I am much more of a reader. So I that's taking me a little bit more time, but I'm gonna get there. So I am also learning throughout this time.
Terrific. Are you going to assemble the tacos and show us what it looks like when the dish is done?
Sure. Yes. So we got our tortillas here. So we're gonna put the tortilla here, and then we spread a little bit. Let me get the smaller spoon. So we spread a little bit of the beans here, and then you can put the purslane and potato filling. I love this. So you put this on top, and then you finish with your salsa. I'm gonna do them first, and then keep on with the salsa. I love the blue tortillas. Aren't they amazing? And you know, we have also like purple corn and so many varieties of corn. So we can have different colors of tortillas. And sometimes, you know what I do? I add beet beet puree or beet juice to the masa rather than the water, and that turns into beautiful hot pink masa. You can try that also. If you want to just play with the masa and do cool tortillas, you can always do that. Or put some carrot or some green, like the juice. That will add some color and a little bit of flavor. So we got these
When are we
peppers.
getting the tortilla press?
And then we finish by adding the salsa. So we have this beautiful salsa. And you know, because I always like to have some crema, and in many places here in Mexico, they will always put some crema on the table. So what we do is that we add some coconut cream. So that's not non-dairy. It's so creamy and delicious. And you just need to, has a beautiful flavor. You just need to add a little bit of this.
Chef Reyna,
Yes?
where do you get a tortilla press?
Well, at any Mexican store, I am sure that you will be able to find it. And if you, you can also order them online. Here we find it at a mercado. At any, like all the mercados here have tortilla press. But if you're not visiting Mexico, you can always look online or also look at your local Mexican store. For sure, they will have it. So we're gonna cut this 3 slices of avocado just to top here. Oh my God, I love avocados. So we get this 3 slices here. This one got a little skin. Good. And we finish with just a little bit of lime juice. Just freshly squeezed lime. Can't wait to taste them. So you can see them here. Oh. So we got this beautiful, they're all, well, actually they're vegan tacos, 100%.
They look incredible. That is the most beautiful dish, and everybody is so amazed at your presentation skills and in your beauty. And
oh, I forgot the these little flowers. If you have them in your garden, this society garlic, it will give a little garlic flavor, and it looks so beautiful too. I just look at the basket and said, like, I am missing something. Yeah, it was the beautiful garlic flowers. So just be sure that if you're using them, just don't put them, you know, there's people that put some flowers in ice cubes. Just be sure that you don't put these ones into your punch or something because they will taste like garlic. But otherwise, you can use them for any other dish, like a savory dish.
it looks amazing. Are you going to share those with Salvador?
Yes, yes. And with the team that's here helping here today, we actually have the spa manager helping me with the camera.
That's
My best friends, we have Dorita, which is La Cocina Que Canta manager, and we have Angie, which is the chef assistant
Well,
here.
I definitely know Dora, so tell her I said hello. This has been an amazing presentation. You've made everyone hungry, and everybody's just so impressed. And we thank you so much for coming on the show, and we'd love to have you back if you have the time.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much for the invitation. And once we reopen the ranch, we are always waiting for you with arms open. We hope that happens in the near future. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Siempre mejor.
Siempre mejor, exacto. Siempre mejor.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please come back at 2 p.m. today when I'll be interviewing all the way from Australia, Dr. Malcolm McKay. Thank you again, Chef Reyna.